Well, if you're anything like me with technology, you just want to know which button do I push to get the right result. In fact, while I was on vacation, my husband and I had to call the tech guru twice because other guests, it wasn't me, I promise, had pushed the wrong button, giving the wrong signal, which messed up the whole TV and all that. Anyway, you have to know what you're doing, and Richard Friesen of Absolute AV Consulting is who I consult with, and he's here with us. Richard, welcome back.
Thank you so much. It is great to be here.
Well, you just came back from a seminar. I'm sure that I would have just glazed over. It's really the wave of the future, right?
It is, and that's part of the reason why I like what I do so much, is because every morning I wake up and get to learn something new, because what I knew the day before is now obsolete.
It's rapidly changing, but your business helps the consumer really understand what it is they need, and it's so much more than just your audio visual now, right?
That's correct. That's correct. It used to be everybody thought of TVs and speakers, and that's what we did, which was a big part of that business. But now it's making everybody play together. You know, I've used the analogy of I'm a kindergarten teacher because I have to take all the kids and put them in a sandbox and make them play nicely together.
Yes.
And that's a challenge because it involves so much more than just watching TV.
Yes, and you know, designers love the climate control, the motorization of window treatments, that kind of thing. I mean, there's so many avenues, but you really try to simplify it to where it can come down to like one touch pad, and you're even saying that we can bypass all of the problems that we have maybe with the network and things like that. We're going to learn a lot about that today, right?
That's right.
Okay. Well, let's, you've sent over some slides we're going to look at, and if you'll explain to us, I'm glad you're going to break this down because to me, it can become overwhelming.
It is, and this is just a slide that shows or illustrates how many different types of residential systems there are. We kind of touched on a few. You've got climate, you know, what the temperature of your home is. Yep, motorization of draperies and shades and even doors and things like that. And we have your usual audio, video, things that you think of, as well as the network. And the network now is really the backbone and is required to make everybody play nicely together. Right,
right. And so we've got all of these different systems, and then we have this is the next types, the climate control, and this is what you were just talking about.
The lighting, control of lighting, control of the motorization, and control of your entertainment functions and, you know, and network functions, and then tying it all together. Because it used to be the days of 14 different remotes sitting on your coffee table. Now it's turned into 14 or 15 or even 20 different apps on your phone to do everything from open the garage door to close to start the crock pot to change the temperature.
And that makes so much more sense, because if you know, you don't want to, where is that particular remote? And then you always have to be changing out the batteries in all the different remotes. And you're saying that just so I understand, everything that we just saw there, you can do now from one pad.
Yes, we can do from one central point, and we can even do what I like to call pure control or true automation, in that we can actually turn lights on when you walk into a room to the right correct setting, or if you need to drop some shades because you've got some very expensive carpets that you don't want to get bleached out by the sun. Based on the sun's position, we can drop the shades, or you can, it's called daylight harvesting, which in commercial buildings is done quite a bit, where you use the outside natural light rather than paying for your own lighting to be on. So we can do that automatically, just that you walk in the room and things happen.
And certain timings too. I was telling my husband, there was a wonderful little storm. We were in Alice Beach, and I said, oh, I'm going to go walk around. And so I walked around, and as I was walking, you know, lights would come on, and I'd sort of peek in the window, not like I was really peeking, but looking in the window, looking for people. There were no people. The TV came on, and it said choose a channel, but there was nobody sitting there. And so you can really create the illusion too that there are lights coming on, and it helps with security, because it looked like there were people in all of those houses, but in fact, there was nobody there, and so I got a little spooked. I decided to go back. It just seemed, but that's what you can do with home automation. So
Yes.
so we can start with the home theater. We were just seeing that.
Yes, we can take, in fact anymore, we can take a movie server that would take all of your movies and put them in one central place. You never have to touch another disc again, and it has a similar to iTunes type interface that you can pull up all of your movies and search by genre, or search by director, by title, by actor, and do the same thing you do with iTunes. Touch a little icon and boom, you're watching your movie.
And they're still just as sharp as they would be if it
Yes.
was on a DVD.
Same resolution. And from the other keys to consider, and we touched on it a little already, is surveillance, seeing who's around outside of the home, tying that in with security and life safety, as well as access control. So you can even lock or unlock a gate based on what's happening, or you could remotely, if you knew you had someone from your staff that you needed to let in, you could actually let them in, or give them a code that was only good for between the hours of 3 and 5 in the afternoon, let's say.
Right.
So you can limit their access, but they still need to get in and do what it is that you've asked them to do.
Right. That's very smart.
So we can pull all that together. And then there's the environmental control, because interesting statistic, it's a study done now a few years ago, that was basically of the people that own a programmable thermostat. These are people that have them. 90% of them never programmed it, ever.
Wow.
Which, I mean, it's kind of astounding, because you spent quite a bit of money on a programmable thermostat, but yet it doesn't do what it's supposed to do for you, and that is to save energy. And so we can once again turn that into something that works with your lifestyle, so you don't have to actually touch it. You can if you want to, but it will, after a while, knows your routine about when you set the temperature up, when you leave to go to work, and then make the settings appropriate to summer and to winter, based on your lifestyle.
And even I know that it's always nice, like in the middle of the night, for it to kick down just a notch or two, because you get a little bit warmer as you sleep.
Yes.
And it'd be nice to be able to set that. So I can imagine that there are just things turning on and off at your house all the time. I bet your wife does it. She walks in the room and says, "Wow, okay." I bet she's amazed all the time.
Well, she's gotten spoiled, actually, where
she likes that.
She does. She enjoys having everything just exactly the way she wants it, and it's great, because we even in our master bath, if you get up after midnight, which we usually go to bed midnight-ish, but so after midnight, if you get up, it will turn the lights on automatically, but they go to like 15%.
Oh,
so it's really
nice.
dim, so
it's not that bright light in your face.
Getting ready in the morning kind of thing, when all you want to do is get a drink, or whatever it is you need to do.
Well, you really bring up an interesting point, is that this automation isn't just so we can be techie people. It really is for comfort and joy. I mean, it really adds a life experience, and that's what you say. You say, don't buy a box, buy an experience. But the problem is, and you know that this is the problem, you go buy the box, you don't even read the instructions, and you never actually enjoy the experience of it.
Right.
It's not getting used in the proper way, and that's where you break it down for people that are not techie, they don't understand all of that, and where they can understand, and it's very, very simple.
That's right.
And you have support too. I think we've got a little slide about that as well, but let's go on to the next one. We want to make sure we get everything in. So voice and data networks.
Yes, and some of these statistics are somewhat dated and a few years old, but 80% of homes have computers, and 90%, and we're talking about in America, and over 90% of the homes have high-speed internet in some fashion. Those percentages are actually a little higher now.
And that's what you need to run these things, correct?
And because that's our life.
Yes.
I mean, you now, your phone conversations, your email, your text conversations, pretty much everything runs over a computer. In fact, you can stream the trend of the future in from watching television is going to be streaming over the internet versus traditional providers like we have. been used to. So that's coming as well. So there's this whole quantum shift towards everything is going to be computerized or at least run via the network. And that's why you have to pay so much attention and bring, we have to treat home networks just like we do big commercial networks now, just to make sure they work well.
And you can also recommend to people what networks that they should sign up for that will run things the best.
Right, we can help them with that choice and guide them through, because there's, as always, there's how you use it and what your realistic budget is, and then bringing in what you're using now, and especially in a new or renovated home, is you have things you're already used to using, so let's bring that into the equation and not make it total sticker shock.
Now, is there a time, though, that sometimes that you would say to a client, you know, that is just old?
Yes, I've had that conversation several times.
And when you get started with someone, the thing that you don't want is you don't want them to be behind the times the minute that they get started. You're really wanting to catapult you, and that's what I always tell my husband. I said, look, if we're going to do something, let's go beyond and go what the future is, because I mean, so quickly you're just behind the times.
Exactly, and that's why we really like to help people plan, and we actually over-plan and probably over-analyze, only so that we can be prepared in the future, so that 3 years from now, when we have a conversation and they say, oh, I'd like to do this and this, I don't have to say, oh, I'm so sorry, you don't have the network to do it, so we're going to have to spend a whole lot of your money now in order to do it. That's not a fun conversation.
Right, right.
And there is always the point of diminishing returns. We can do a lot of things with technology people has, but sometimes they spend more than it's worth to keep the old, when we could have replaced it with something new for half the cost.
Right, right. So you help people with that budgets of that too. And we've got a few more slides too. She's really contemplating this.
Yes, because there's a whole process that we go through that's really required to do it right. And you need to have a good system design, meaning know what it is, not only that you want now, but in the future. And that takes a lot of documentation, and there's a whole lot of paperwork that we do, not necessarily that the client goes through, but just to get it to that point, so we can in turn give a good, realistic proposal and all of the things that go with it for to make it clear as far as what we're doing and how much it's going to cost and that kind of thing, as well as then there's a lot of things that we do and are very proactive with the builder, the contractor, making sure clearances are right, or we have a wall that's in the right place or needs to be thicker because there's so many wires that go through, and there's just a litany of things that we have to do in order to make it flow well.
Right, and you document all of this along the journey so that they know that they're getting everything they need that will make it operate later. And then you probably even wire beyond what they're going to need. Yes,
that's our recommendation, is if you are going to cut something, don't cut the wiring.
Don't cut the wiring.
And pardon the pun, but that's true.
And service and support, you know, you do have, we can call and say, this, you know, I'm punching this button and something's not happening.
Yeah, that's right. And now we are in a position where we can actually offer at a very reasonable price remote monitoring and service, so we can remote in, and we actually get emails when, like, if your network starts having trouble, it will send an email to us. We can even proactively jump on it before you ever know there's a problem, and a lot of times.
Oh, I love that,
so
because it can spearhead it, just head it off at the pass. Well, fantastic. Well, you always break it down for us so that it's we can understand, because it's sometimes beyond. So thank you, Richard, so much.
Thank you.
Well, welcome to the Cheers Corner. This is the portion of the show where we hand out the party favors and we make our toast. And who better to sponsor us than Amber Falls Winery? This is the perfect time to go out to visit them. You can get on amberfallswinery.com. They're in Hampshire, Tennessee, and find out what band is playing this weekend. I love to go out there and be sure and tell Tim and Judy that Denise said hello. Well, I want to make sure you know how to get in touch with me. I love hearing from you. And listen, by the way, our new show is coming up. I want you to sign up for my newsletter. You can email me at denise@lifestylewithDeniseSimons.com. You can like me on Facebook. You also get my newsletter through the Facebook, and set your DVR for our News Channel 5 show Sunday mornings every 3:30 a.m. And also, anybody that you see on the show and you want more information, go to LifeStyle.com. And coming up, we will be telling you the cities and states where our show will be. We're going to let you know so that you can let your family and friends know. Well, we have some party favors that we want to hand out. Richard has given us some good information. He says, buy an experience, not a box, because you'll never program it. And network woes can be avoided. Also, planning saves you money. So, Richard, how can we get in touch with you? Because you are the guru, and you said we're going to be seeing a lot of new things that you just learned about. So how can we get in touch with you?
Well, you can get in touch with us through our website at www.absavtn.com. The good old telephone works, 615-656-8900. You can also look us up on Facebook, or you can come to the Home Decorating and Remodeling Show, and I'm going to be there most of the weekend at booth 1515.
Fantastic. Well, of course, you know I'll come to see you. And coming up next week, we will be revealing everywhere we're going to be nationally for the show, so make sure that you tune in. And we always like to end our show with a toast. Richard, thanks for all the information that you shared with us, and to all of the viewers out there. We just want to say we hope that we divided your sorrows and multiplied your joys. Until next time, cheers.